You're listening to the VHS Ate My Brain podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Horns. I'm the author of the books VHS Ate My Brain, VHS Ate My Brain Revised Edition, and the sequel, The Revenge, which is out now as well. There is a new one coming, VHS Ate My Brain, Heavy Metal Horrors, an examination of the rock and metal themed horror movies of the 80s and 90s. Look out for that arriving in September. Far sooner than that, though, look out for me doing a personal appearance, a guest appearance no less, at Wigan Museum. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be for a screening of Night of the Living Dead put on by the Wigan Cult Film Club. And I can't wait for this. This is going to be so cool. There's going to be another podcaster there. There's going to be a film director there on a panel with me. We're going to have a chat about the movie and why we like these things and hang out with a sold-out crowd. How cool is that? It's a free event, but all the Eventbrite tickets have sold out, so that's so cool. I'm really looking forward to that. I've also never been to Wigan, so it's going to be an interesting experience getting there as well. Close to home, Studio B, Planet Hex Studio B is coming along nicely. There's a lot of work going on with that whenever I can, on the side of, having a full-time job, parenting, writing books, doing stuff like this. It all mounts up, but I will get there with that, with Studio B. There, I've just shot an intro and outro to the new episode of Planet Hex there tonight, and it's looking good. It's not finished by a long way yet, the studio, so do bear that in mind when you see it. I just wanted to get started with something in there and just, get it underway so that there was something going on with Studio B, and just to make it varied for people that are kind enough to visit my channel and watch my videos. I really do appreciate everyone that does that, because I'm doing this for free with no professional equipment, no professional filming stuff, nothing. I just do it for the love of it. I want to join in and I want to spread the word about weird old nerd stuff, because that appeals to me and it always has, and hopefully it always will. I think it will. I think it always will. My tastes haven't changed that much since childhood. That could be a little worrying in some cases, but when you're a niche content creator, that's essential, I would say. Anyway, so yes, the new book, VHS Ate My Brain, Heavy Metal Horrors, is underway and it's doing fabulously so far. So I'm on target for late September, a release for this book, and to be frank, I'm having some of the best nights writing I've had in years putting this together. The research alone is just creating so many internet rabbit holes for me, and I'm losing hours of evenings. They're just disappearing. I set some time aside to get my word quota done for the night, and I just spend it doing some really, really enjoyable research into weird old films and the effects they had on society. So I am putting all this together as I'm trying a different approach, really. So I'm writing. So I'm doing research, getting all the research into the file, and then I'm writing up what my findings and opinions, and so I'm putting the chapters together. But I'm also doing a chase edit, so that's when I will go back over what I've written recently and do a little edit, and then catch up to where I've got to so far. So it saves a bit of the process time, because I don't like editing. Editing is not fun. That's why in this episode of the VHS Ate My Brain podcast, you're going to hear me say many occasions. Generally, I cut those out because it winds me up that I do it so much, but I'm leaving them in this episode because, this is me. This is me. I should be raw. I should be just entirely honest with you and leave all the and the rough bits in, because, we're all friends here, aren't we? So, with the book on the way, that's that out of the way. I must tell you, I had a great time at MCon. It's been a bit of time has passed now, because it was the 7th of June when MCon took place, but it's now the 19th of June as I record this. I did put out a video of my MCon experience over on my YouTube channel on Planet Hex, as I do every year. I put one out on there just to capture these great memories. I mean, I know they get me a lot of views on my channel, but for the most part, the videos I do for MCon are more souvenirs for myself, because it's time with my kids. It's time with the kids' friends now, and I'm going with friends as well. And it's nice to capture all that as sort of a postcard. That in itself is like picking up merch from the event itself for me. That's what it's like when I film events that I go to. That nugget of footage, or the photos I get, those are souvenirs to me just as much as buying merchandise or t-shirts and things like that. But that day was interesting. It was a fascinating experience, as MCon always is, over at the Ice Arena here in Nottingham. And I have kind of mixed feelings about MCon at the moment, because it has changed from what it was initially when I first started going in. I think it was 2016. I think that was the first one, where I just went with some workmates, and we did the nerd things, and there were cast members from Star Trek and Doctor Who and Star Wars and things. David Prowse was there the first time I saw it. Walter Koenig was there. Peter Davison was there, and there was various Doctor Who characters, and that blew my mind. So, a huge Doctor Who fan. I was until the last few years, where I've lost interest in it entirely. Mainly not down to the show itself or the stuff surrounding the show, but mainly due to the fandom being just so horrendous towards each other. It just really put me off the whole thing, to be honest. So that's it was a great experience though, starting to go there. And when the kids started to go there, when Alex came with me the first time, that was a dream come true. He went in an Iron Man costume. He was complimented on his costume by proper cosplayers in huge armour and so on, saying, "Oh, Mr. Stark, I didn't know you were going to be here today," that sort of thing. It was really, really cool. Everyone was really nice to him. And when Joe was old enough to start coming, he loved it, because he loves dressing up anyway. So there's cosplay going on, and they get to meet people, they get to see other cosplayers, they get to check out other characters that are there, and they get to buy merch and things that are available there. We are yet to go to any of the panels, because the kids don't have any form of attention span. I'm amazed I do, to be honest, but I would love to go to one of the panels, or a few of the panels at some point, and we may we'll figure it out one day. One day we'll get there. There are some nice things at MCon to do, as well as just meeting celebrities and buying merchandise as well. There are a bunch of sets that have been recreated from popular culture, which I think is a great idea, allowing people to go and take photos in them and hang out in them, get videos in these crazy sets. Like, my favourite one they've got there is the Red Dwarf bedroom, so Lister and Rimmer's bedroom from the Red Dwarf set, a recreation of that's fantastic. There was a Flynn's arcade set up this year as well, with video games in it, so the kids were playing Mortal Kombat games, as visible in the MCon video over on my YouTube channel. And what else was there? There's the Ghostbusters set up with a containment unit and several Ghostbusters cosplayers as well. There was a Star Wars bit, there was a full-size TARDIS, and there's even a Barbie box you could get into. How can you not want to do that? Especially if you're in a ludicrous costume. Speaking of which, this was my first year going along in costume, so my options are a little limited. I'm a stocky, bald man. There's no escaping it. I'm not particularly fat or anything, but I am stocky. I'm sort of like, comic accurate Wolverine sort of build. I'm 5'7". I'm not 5'3" like Wolverine, but that's that sort of build. So I'm limited into the amount of costumes I can pull off. So it's going to be Professor X, Captain Picard, or Wilson Fisk. So I went with Kingpin this year. I got a suit jacket and trousers from a charity shop, sprayed them with fake blood, got that looking nice and messy, in keeping with the final episode of Daredevil, Born Again. If you've seen that, you know what I mean. Well, it's been everywhere what happened in that anyway, but yeah, that's inspired by that episode. So I went round with blood all over me in a cream suit, and no one will see me in a suit any other way, to be honest. Even when I posted photos of the costume that I was wearing online, and my mum went, "Oh, it's so good to see you in a suit." I'm like, "Mum, you do realise that I am sprayed with blood. I'm covered in blood. This guy is a ruthless killer." But she's like, yes, but you look ever so smart." So there you have it, folks. I look smart when I'm covered in fake blood, wearing a suit that makes me just look like a psychotic version of the Del Monte Man. Now I'm showing my age because I'm referencing adverts from the 80s. Anyway, so yes, MCon was a great experience as ever. It was a lot of fun. We went with my best friend Charlotte and her partner Billy, and the kids, Charlotte's kids, and my kids, and we saw people from the kids' schools there. We saw other friends that we knew from over the past few years there, and it's a really good experience. However, there were some things that stuck out that could have been much better. And I'm looking at you, dealers. Now, I know that hiring a table there, paying for table space there at MCon is not cheap, but the prices are really starting to put people off. So I did see. I'm not going to name any particular names. That's not fair. But there was one dealer that I saw there that I'd seen the previous year, and their prices had gone up from starting at £22 for these custom items to starting at £48. That's more than 100% added on to the price, and there's going to be kids there that are bugging their parents to get stuff. You're going to end up getting some impulse buys there that are going to be regretted, and it's just going to mount up, and people are going to be kind of done, really. And I think in the long run, that's going to put people off MCon itself. There are things I avoid there anyway, like the food and drink, because it's just extremely expensive. But now, as well as the dealers, the celebrity prices are getting crazy as well. I love Warwick Davis, but £60 for a selfie with him? Dude, this isn't London, this is the East Midlands, this is Nottingham. We don't have that cash to throw around. I saw a lot of people turn away from meeting Warwick Davis, not just because of the queue, but because the prices were just obscene, to be honest. I did meet Marina Sirtis, and that was not cheap for a selfie, and to be honest with that, I have buyer's remorse. I wish I hadn't done that, because it set me back 40 quid, and as soon as it happened, oh my god, why have I done that? What a stupid thing to do. But I was pulled in by the impulse buy nature of that, of just being at a con, because you're there. It's either that moment or it's never, and that's how it feels. That's how it kind of, the urgency is there. And before I knew it, I'd spent 40 quid and really regretted it. So I've now been having to make that back on eBay, because money's tight. Money's tight for everyone, and I really, really relate to that. I work full time, and I do create stuff on the side, and it's hard to make ends meet. So when I go to a convention, wanting to make it a great experience for the kids, and then do that, I was like, oh, that's annoying. But that's also something it's become more of an experience for the kids rather than me being able to geek out at things. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's a great experience to share as a family, and the kids really enjoy it. Both my sons, Alex and Joe, really enjoy it. They talk about their costumes all year. They change their mind about costumes all year. And to them, that's the main part of it, who they're going to dress up as, who they're going to see there, even over buying stuff, which is a good job, really. I mean, they both had a budget that they enjoyed getting through, and of course you wouldn't burn a hole in your pocket in an event like that. But it's become more as an experience for them now, and I'm all for that. I do wonder sometimes if I should go on the second day, but on my own, so I could actually see the dealers and check things out to a greater extent, rather than just trying to keep an eye on the kids all the time. But then that would take a lot of the fun out of it for me as well, because you pay to get in, and you've seen everything within half an hour. If you're not going to go and get photo shoots, and you're not going to go and get the panels and things like that, if you're just there to see the dealers and go and see all the people in costume, you can do it all in half an hour, and that's not ideal. How can they sort this out? What I would say is, look at the example that was, I think it was 2023's MCon, when there was a band on. There was Lena and the Lions, an 80s style pop rock band who were just amazing. And in the middle of the session, like 1:30 in the daytime, they did a concert, and it really lifted the spirits. It was really, really exciting, and a great use of the arena space. You might as well use it, seeing as you've got all the equipment there that you can put a show on with. So Lena and the Lions were brilliant, and got to know them a bit since then, and Lena's the sweetest person. What an absolute sweetie, and the band is just brilliant. And I think something like that would lift things. Also, screenings. Screen an anime, something family friendly, an anime or a sci-fi movie or something. Just right there, just get a big projector, a dozen seats maybe, and just run a playlist of stuff all day. Why not? You've got the space. If there are
independent creators there that are promoting something. You could get their stuff played. You could get trailers played. You could, yeah, you actually thinking about it, the organisers could make some coin off that from selling advertising, trailers, samples of stuff, clips of stuff, with web addresses and stuff like that. So that could be somewhat a new way that the organisers could get some more coin from it. I saw a discussion on the MCon page on Facebook as to what else they could do, and people were suggesting more authors. Yeah, I'm all for that. I would not mind having a table there, but I would need to be reassured that I'd be able to make back the cost of that table, or it's just not financially viable. Speaking as an author that doesn't have a big publisher behind me, it's just me doing it. My imprint is me. So authors, someone suggested people selling movies, and yep, they mentioned VHS. So they, I can't remember who made the comment, but they commented about how about having a dealer selling like Blu-rays, DVDs, and VHS, because there is a market for all of these. And I agree entirely. That was something that would be interesting on there. That would be eye-catching, like, oh, look at these. So you'd get people of a certain age like myself going, oh, I remember how we used to have these. We would go to the video shop every Friday night. We'd either get Friday the 13th or Dirty Dancing, depending who was there, that sort of thing. And kids can discover these things as well, and the effect that they had on pop culture, because these things are just being erased. No pun intended. These things are just being forgotten about. Physical media was not just popular, it changed how we consume everything. It changed how we consume, movies and TV shows, of course, but it changed how we consume and are aware of news, historical events, music, art, opinions. These things were captured on tape for the first time through this era, and you cannot replicate that. We are now living in an information age where everything is 24 hours a day available. Whatever you want to find out, whatever you want to hear, what you want to hear, whichever opinion on whichever side of whichever fence you may be on, it's all there for you all the time, 24 hours a day, 37 million hours a day. You can just consume content 24 hours and you will never, ever, ever run out of it. There is much more content out there now, even in niches, than anyone is ever going to be able to consume. But physical media captured something, as it captured these things, the fire of these things, the essence of these things, in an item. And it was an item you had to physically put on. And it was an item because you'd paid that money and you'd got the item and you'd unwrapped it and you'd put it into your player. It commanded your attention, be it VHS, a cassette, vinyl, whatever it was, even CDs. I'm fond of CDs because they're small and easy to post when you sold them on eBay. That's, just being honest. But physical media has that. It captures a part of you. It captures a time and a place. And when you hold it, when you pick up a favourite album, you remember where you got it. You pick up a favourite VHS, you remember the store you got it from, or the seller, or the good times you had visiting a particular video shop if you picked it up from that one. If you got vinyl, if it's original vinyl, you can remind yourself of when you got that and what it meant to you then and what it still means to you now. And I think that's something that could be interesting for a lot of people visiting a convention like MCon, is to get stuff that is not just, paintings or t-shirts or bits of tat or figures. And by bits of tat, I mean a lot of 3D printed things. There was an absolutely massive amount of 3D printed goods on sale that's at MCon this year. And I did get one, actually. It was only a £5. It was a Judge Dredd badge, and I couldn't resist having a 3D printed gold Judge Dredd badge. It looks very cool. Yeah, and a lot of this stuff is very cool, but there's going to be kids wanting these things, and they're going to break instantly. Then 3D printed stuff is not intended to be played with, and there's going to be a lot of disappointed people. Not just kids as well. Collectors getting hold of this stuff. By the time they get out of the arena, a lot of it's going to have snapped. Disintegrated, just because there's loads of people everywhere. Like your cosplays do when you're walking around and you're getting bashed and shoved all over the place. But I think avenues like media, so physical media and books, more comic dealers would pull people in, would make it a more enjoyable and fulfilling experience for people rather than just getting unofficial T-shirts and poster prints that are not that are not keeping to copyright laws in a lot of senses. There are a lot of things there that were not in keeping with intellectual property, which leaves a bit of a bitter taste in the mouth. You know, when you know what goes into the originals of these and the people that are involved with them, and bootlegging is not ideal. You're getting an inferior product that's not the real thing. Anyway, but I think there is a lot to be said for widening the scope. That brings me to another point, though. This was raised by MCon staff, that it's not them that decides who goes there. So dealers themselves put themselves forward. They apply. They go through the application process. So more dealers need to be aware of this, that there is a hunger for this. There is a market here for things. And yeah, you may get lost in the crowd a bit, but if you are selling something that is of interest to people that other sellers around you aren't selling, when they're all doing vinyl stickers and prints of their artwork, of which there is a lot of that at MCon, or jewelry, or replicas of things. If you do something different, the audience will be there. I found that myself with vhsAteMybrain when I did the first one. Didn't really think anyone was going to pay any attention. Here I am a decade later. It's still going on. I'm still putting out these VHS books, and I still love it. There is a market out there. And if you are at a convention like MCon, you have your target audience is there. It's there with you. You're not having to get people to look at a website or an Etsy page or anything like that. It's right there, right in front of you, and they are there live, and it's a great time to strike. It's a great time to get the right people in front of what you're trying to sell. So yeah, dealers, go and check out these big conventions more. Don't let it just descend into a giant Etsy style market. I know that's what some people are into. That is not something I want to pursue myself. Anyway, recent watches. What I've been watching recently, I've been on a bit of a documentary kick recently. So I've watched the Drawing Monsters, the Mike Mignola documentary about Hellboy. I've watched the Pamela Anderson one. I've watched a great 3-part series, the Trainwreck series on Netflix, about what happened at Woodstock '99. Oh my God, I did not realise it got that insane there. I should really be more aware of that, but discovering what happened there and the chaos that came out of that event was really, really eye-opening. What else did I watch? I watched Bloody Pom-Poms, aka Cheerleader Camp, which is a standard... Not standard, actually. It's a slasher movie, but it's got some creepy, insane dream sequences in it, which elevate it above the standard slasher fare of things like, Final Exam or whatever. Do check that out. It's all over Prime, that one. You can't miss it. It's got really good artwork of a skeletal cheerleader with pom-poms, and it's labelled as Cheerleader Camp, but it was called and comes up on screen as Bloody Pom-Poms. That was worth watching. I watched The Wrath of Becky, which is a sequel to Becky, and that was a ton of fun. That captures for me the sort of anarchic revenge thriller sort of feel of late 80s, early 90s VHS stuff. That was a lot of fun. Living with Chucky, the Chucky / Child's Play documentary. Didn't enjoy that as much because I have a weird relationship with Chucky. Not an actual relationship with Chucky, but I worked in a comic shop for 9 years, and one of the most popular things we would sell was the Chucky dolls, and we had giant ones, we had life-size ones, we had small ones, we had action figures, and the phrase, "How much are your Chucky dolls?" is burned forever into my mind. So that was a bit of a hard watch, and it was interesting to see the history of it all. It's interesting to hear the thoughts of people like Brad Dourif and the people involved with putting it together. But and Jennifer Tilly's in it, so that's always a plus. But I'm just tired of Chucky, to be honest. Nothing against people that like it. I had enough Chucky in my life. What else did I watch? I watched Prom Night 3. So that happened. And I mentioned on Planet Hex I was going to watch a movie called The Conjuring Tapes, as I'd heard good things about it, as it centres around stuff that's been found on VHS tapes. And I had to turn it off halfway through because it's shit. I think that's the term I'm after. You watch it and it's like, okay, this is a found footage thing. Yeah, see what's going on here. This is going to get creepy. These characters don't meld. They don't get on. There's no dynamic between them. It just didn't work for me. So I feel terrible about that because I was really looking forward to enjoying it, but didn't. But there has been a lot of other stuff I've been enjoying, those documentaries in particular, and I've been going through. In fact, last night I went through the I have a Fire TV, and I went through the entire app library of stuff and found so many mad free film apps that have got, you know, the sort of ones that where there's like half a dozen free, and then the rest you've got to pay a subscription for. Never paid subscription on those things. No, just don't do it. Just watch the free stuff. But there is an absolute ton of weird stuff out there. There are entire apps that are just filled with independent, no-budget genre movies, and this is a rabbit hole in itself, like the vhsatemybrain heavy metal horrors research. I can't get enough of going through these apps. Not just watching the movies, but just going through these apps and finding these weird barrel scraping corners of genre cinema. I love it. This is absolutely wonderful. So do check out the weirder apps that you've got on there that look a bit dodgy. They all probably are, but there's some absolute nuggets of craziness to be found out there. That said, this particular nugget of craziness is going to sign off and let you get back to being awesome, because you all clearly are. I'm Andrew Horn. This is the VHS Ate My Brain podcast. Please do check out the books, check out my YouTube channel at Planet Hex, and do subscribe to this if you haven't already. That would be lovely. And I will catch you again very soon on the next episode. See ya.